Hello everyone, XPGamesNL here, back with a new FEBuilder tutorial. Today we are covering visiting villages, tile changes, as well as branching events. This tutorial was requested by the user teenyleaf. They were busy making their very own prologue chapter in FEBuilder, and they asked me if I could help explain things a little bit better. If you have any questions or topics, leave them down in the comments below because I really like to help out new creators, as well as I really like to hear that my tutorials are helpful because that makes them worthwhile making. So yeah, before we get into everything that we are going to adjust to the ROM and the things we're going to change within the ROM, let us first look at the final result because that is what you're all here for. Let's check real quick. Oh, there you go. Let's load the save because I've prepared, of course. And what will happen if we visit the village with Rip Seth is that we'll get this normal conversation. We will get a red gem. But suddenly the village gets destroyed, yet the gate closes. Now, if we instead load the save again and visit with XP, what will happen is instead of getting a red gem, we will receive a rapier, as well as the village will not be destroyed. Now that you're curious to how we have done this, let us get into the tutorial and let's start tinkering. So now that we've seen the final result, let us grab our toolbox and get started. As you can see, we're at the main menu of FEBuilder. Now I need to get the correct chapter because we're going to edit chapter 1 of the game. And as you can see, I've added a little village to the map. It's actually possible to do this very small village, as you can see. You can make a bigger one. Let's go to the map editor real quick. You can actually do what I did and add only a village that is as big as this one. Well, do note if you do this, then you need to keep in mind that if you want this village to be destroyed, you need to do something else for that too, and I'll come to that in a bit. But since I've added this village, it would of course be appropriate for us to add tile changes to the village. For those of you who do not know what tile changes are, tile changes basically transform the map, and there's some really creative things you can do with that. I have seen hacks such as the Alligor Spear, for an example, use tile changes to make floors crumble. Fire Emblem 7 and Fire Emblem 6 have instances where they actually make pathways using tile changes, where the tile change will give you a path that you can traverse that otherwise would not be there. You can do some really creative stuff with it, but it's usually just used for opening treasure chests, as you can see up here, and for villages. If they get destroyed, they will change it to the destroyed one, and if they are close, they will get this little gate. The reason to why this is because otherwise, the way events for villages are monitored in Fire Emblem Game Boy Advanced, you could visit them an unlimited amount of time. Just because there's a simple dummy event set for the villages, and the developers of the game thought that it would be nicer to not get special flags or run certain if statements or something in the code for every single village, because if you would spam a map full of villages, then that would cause a lot of flags or possible checks in the game to be taken. So that is why there's a simple event here that just basically runs the event, and then you'll be prevented from visiting the village again, or prevented from opening the treasure chest again. So what we're going to do, because we need to add a tile change, is we're going to click on Expand Tile Changes. Now, you won't see this little menu, but there will be 3 options: assign a new tile change, display the tile change settings screen, or click Cancel. We're going to click on Assign a new tile change. It's impossible to miss. It's the top option. And when you do that, you'll see that the entirety of the map goes like gray. You see we have a little square that is still filled in and colored. This is going to be the tile that changes when you trigger the event. What we're going to do is, because we want to visit the village, we're going to press over here. We click on this little village tile, and we click on the green little tile that we saw previously, or that is in the top left of the screen. Now we have a closed gate, but as you can see, it's completely out of position. So let's quickly write to ROM before we lose the tile change. And then we have this resize option. Now a little menu pops up that you won't be able to see, but it is a very simple menu. It will give you an option to change the position of the tile change, and it will give you the option to increase the size of the tile change. I'm going to quickly change the size to like, this should like be 14, maybe 14.1. And it's a little bit of a guessing game. As you can see, I filled in 14.1 over here for the... So this 14 is the x coordinate, and the 1 is the y coordinate. And as you can see, it's still a little bit off, so I need to adjust it. And this is the size. Remember that tile changes can only be done in a square. So you can actually not actually create like triangles or something. It can only be done in squares. And if you're like opening a door or busting down a wall, you will need some really creative, or you will need to overlap the tile changes with the regular map, so you will actually need to put the same tiles in the tile changes as they are on the basic map, because otherwise you'll get inconsistency. So let me quickly adjust the position here. We need 12x, and as you can see, now the gate is closed. So the first tile change we've added closes the gate, and you see that there's an ID for the tile change up here. It's important to keep that in the back of your mind. Now we're going to add another one. We're going to click again on Expand Tile Changes, assign a new one, and we will actually now increase the size by increasing the R value by 2 and the B value by 1. We create a bigger tile change. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the broken village like this, and now we have a broken village tile change. Let's see. What you can also do if you do not want to play the guessing game for where the tile change should be in terms of coordinates, you can just simply hover over the top left tile, and you can see the coordinates are 11x and 0y. So let's just fill that in the little menu, and boom. As you can see, we now have a destroyed village on the location where the village previously was. Now, this is important because, as you've seen in the example, if Seth visits the village, a tile change will trigger where the village will be destroyed. Now, as you can see, we have now created our tile changes. That is all good. So now that we've done that, we can actually progress onward to the event systems, or to the events. So what you want to do is you want to open up the little event condition menu. Let's see, where do I have it? Over here, there you go. The event condition menu, and since there was no village in Vanilla Chapter 1 Escape, I clicked on the data expansion, or previously called extend list option, to add a new village, or to add a new thing, a new map object. Be sure that it is also set to map objects up here. Chances are you have it like on turn conditions or talk. You need to have it on map objects. If you open up a new one, there will basically be some stuff that is still unchanged. Basically what you need to do is set this to event type visit village. Completion flag, well, if you want the village to be visited after you like defeat a boss or something, you need to just fundle around a bit with flags, but we're not going to do that now. The event, of course, that triggers when you visit the village. The coordinates of the village gate, so when you step in the gate or the open gate, you can visit the village. And you need to set it to type home. There's also this one, and this is kind of interesting because you might not know what this is. Village center thief target. This is basically meant for brigands. If you, for every single map that you want brigands on to threaten a village, you need to make sure that this village center thief target is also there. And generally, if I make a new one real quick, let's see. We do not per se need a new event. We'll just go to visit village, and we'll set this to thief target, and we'll move it to this spot over here. Generally, if a brigand stops in this spot, they can destroy the village, which is something that prevents other players, or prevents, or gives an anti-turtling incentive. That was the thing I was looking for. And you want to set this to dummy event. So now, if there were brigands on the map, they would actually go and destroy the village. But I've not added those on the map, so they won't. Basically, any character that has the AI set to attack village or treasure will target a village. So you can even make simple clerics or priests, you know, the most holy of holy, destroy villages. It's really funny. They do that with gargoyles too in the Sacred Stones vanilla. So that is something that you can do. But yeah, if you want an anti-turtling incentive in the form of a village, be sure to have this village center set to a place where the village can the brigand can destroy the village. So now what we want to do is we want to go to home, to this little visiting thingy, and we want to click on the event option. I'll get the event editor, and boom, there you go. As you can see, we have a branching path. And what we did was when you visit the village, the game or the ROM will look for the ID of the visiting unit. If you remember correctly in the character creation tutorial, or if you're new to this series, every single character has a character ID, which is the ID the game recognizes the character by. Erica has ID 1, Seth has ID 2, Franz has ID 3, Gilliam has ID 4, for an example. All of the characters have a different visiting ID. So, the game will check for that ID, and the ID over here is, or what we did here, is this little statement. It's really weird to pronounce, but really what it does, if you have studied programming, it will run an if statement, and it will check if the result of this check the unit ID is equal to 1. The only character that has character ID 1 is Erica. So, if Erica visits the village, the game will get the ID of Erica, because Erica visits the village. It will get ID number 1. It will check if 1 is equal to 1, and 1 is of course equal to 1, basic math. And then it will go and jump to conditional ID 1. It's really weird, a little bit weird and a little bit tricky to understand maybe, but what it basically does is the unit ID will be compared to this value, which I've set to 1, so it will be compared to unit ID 1, and if that is true, then you will go to label condition 1, which is this one over here. And if it's not, then it will go to label condition, or it will execute everything at the following. So this whole branch. So that is what you can do. You can also change this value to another value. Let's say if we were to change this to number 2, then then the rapier would be given to Seth, because Seth's number 2 ID matches the ID that we want to check. So now that we know how to check, we could also create a lot of other checks. Let's say, for an example, we want an event that is like exclusive to Franz. Franz has number 3 out of the back of my head. So if you were to put another one in here, and you would set it to this one to 3, then only Franz would be able to trigger that, but that requires a bit of extra setup, and I'm not going to do that now. So now we have actually created a branching path. Now for branching path, there is one thing you always need to do, and that is make sure that the branching paths will always, at the end of their little event thingy, go to conditional ID 2, which is above the ending event. Because otherwise what would happen is the ROM will run this little event, this little dialogue conversation. It would give the visiting character that is not Erica the red gem, And if this was not here, it would also give the character the rapier, even though that is something that we only want for Erica. So what we do is we set go to conditional ID number 2 over here. This prevents the ROM from running all of the code in one line and just moves the whole event thingy over to the end, so that we do not get all the rewards that we normally would have listed here. What I forgot to add for this tutorial, which I will do now, is if you go to the command option, you want to look in the search bar for tile change. And you will have 2 options, or 4 options actually. Execute tile change and revert tile change, as well as one with tile change ID and one with tile change X and Y. We want to click on execute tile change change ID because that is the most reliable one. So now what you can see is if we just press, I will add that it executes tile change 1. And if you remember correctly, the ID for tile change 1 was the broken village. So anyone but Erica will destroy the village once they visit. So let's click on Write to ROM. And what will now happen is, let's go over the events again. The ROM will check the ID of the unit that visits. If this unit, or if the ID of the visiting unit is equal to 1, then it will run this code over here under label conditional ID number 1. It will run this little code. And if it's not, if it's anyone but Erica, so anyone but unit ID 1, it will run this little code over here. And it will give the unit a red gem, and now it will execute tile change ID number 1. I will quickly copy paste this over here and change this to tile change ID 0. So what will happen is, instead of the village getting destroyed, if Erica visits the village, the game instead the game instead reverts, or instead the game will close the gate. That is what happens. Now you could also revert the tile change, where if you on a certain point want the village to be restored again after it has been destroyed, you can revert the tile change. If you want a bridge that was lowered to be pulled up again, if you want a bridge to be lowered while it previously was not, you can switch in between reverting and triggering tile changes. So now what we have done is we have created our events, and that is actually that. There's nothing really more to add. We have created a village. It is visitable now. You can actually destroy or if there are brigands on the map, they are able to destroy the village. So that was that. That was actually all that was required. Be sure, if you're making a branching path and you're doing it with the same get unit ID, to sort of put it like this. Have the same order that I have it in, because it's important that you do a check. You need to check or compare the check. You could also make it so, funnily enough, there are various if statements. You could also make it so that if a unit's ID is higher than 10, for an example, then they will get the red gem, and if they're lower, they will get the rapier. There are various things you can screw around with. There's another one. There are also a couple of other checks you can do for visiting units, like their affiliation, or I do not even know if there's something such as inventory, that you can check the inventory of a character, if an item is in an inventory. There's a lot and a lot of possibilities. You should check out all of these checks, and also check out all of the if statements. Be sure to, well, conversation is of course optional. Be sure to always set a conditional ID, so that the different possibilities, the different possible outcomes do not interfere with each other. And that is actually that. That is all about the changing or the branching paths and villages and tile changes. If there's anything unclear, or if you want to ask me a question, be sure to do so in the comments down below. If you are not subscribed yet, it would really help the channel out if you did. Leave a comment below so that the algorithm picks up. And if you found this video helpful and you liked my content, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. And yeah, that is actually that. I really hope you enjoyed. I'm XPGamesNL, and I will see you guys in the next tutorial or just other video. Goodbye. Hey everyone, post-production XP here. Quickly, what I ran into once playtesting the ROM is that you actually need to set the closed gate tile change ID in front of the broken house ID, because the ROM will automatically, after visiting a village, execute the tile change that is most recent to that location. So you will have to do it in this order. So the broken house comes before the closed gate. Be sure to keep that in the back of your mind, as well as if you want villages to be destroyed by brigands, what you need to do is you need to go, of course, back to the event condition real quick. There you go. You need to set the visit village over here, this home. You need to give it the same completion flag, such as temporary flag 8, as the destroy one, because otherwise what will happen is the brigand can destroy the village even after it has been visited. With that said, yeah, same thing as in the outro. See you again soon.